Good evening, everyone. It's me, Drive Ghost, and I wanted to start a series talking about characters in anime and other forms of media who I believe have underrated potential in some way. Or, in other words, characters who have more potential than they're given credit for, even if this potential was pretty much untapped. You can see the three characters that we're going to be talking about today from Dragon Ball, so let's get right into it. Let's start out with undeniably the best character from Universe 6, Hit the Assassin. Now, starting off with Hit because his potential is probably the least underrated. Because, he's certainly tapped into more of his capabilities than the other two we're going to talk about, and it's not like people downplay him that much. But his potential is something that's not talked about enough. And honestly, we've never actually seen Hit at his quote-unquote full power. Excluding his rematch against Goku, which is exclusive to the anime, Hit's never really been in a setting where he can fight with killing intent and use his assassination techniques to their full extent. Therefore, we've not really seen 100% of what he's capable of unless you count that fight in the anime. But despite this, Hit's ceiling is far greater than it seems. Despite being over 1,000 years old, Hit supposedly never trained with the intent of getting stronger, as he says to Goku. While his improvement ability can increase the effectiveness of his time skip, it doesn't necessarily make him more powerful. So what if he were to just, pick up the weights and start training? Well, he would have been a menace in the Tournament of Power. Given that Hit can seemingly live for thousands of years, imagine if he were to spend a year or two training in the Room of Spirit and Time, or Hyperbolic Time Chamber, whatever you want to call it, with Goku, or if he took the initiative to train with the Vados and picked up God Ki. Without training to get stronger, he already forced Goku to use Super Saiyan Blue with Kaioken. Granted, at this point, Goku was still pretty fresh with Super Saiyan Blue, but still, the fact he pushed him that far in their first match is not anything to sneeze at. He was pretty much the only person in the tournament from Universe 6 who could have done that. And he seemingly trained a bit off-screen to develop his time cage, as he didn't really try and use it against, Goku in the tournament. You could argue he didn't really have a reason to there, but I prefer to think that him fighting against Goku gave him some initiative to get stronger, or at least improve his technique, so he developed the time cage. So if he were to genuinely train hard, just imagine what techniques he could develop. If Hit were to draw on his true potential, he might have even been able to put up a fight against Jiren, though he certainly still wouldn't have won. And I'm not really going to give him flack for struggling against Dispo. Yeah, the twitch thing that Dispo was able to pick up on, I don't really consider that a weakness that was just tacked on. I more so look at it as retroactive continuity, being that none of them could really detect that during the Universe 6 tournament, so there would have been no way to point it out there, so we don't really have proof it didn't exist. You could consider it something that was just added to give him a weakness, but he gets over the weakness anyway when fighting against Dispo, so it's not really that big of a deal. And now we're going to go over a character who was kind of generally wasted, but still had some incredible potential. On paper, Videl doesn't seem like she has all that much potential, being a human and the daughter of Mr. Satan of all people. Though don't downplay the champ, he did survive, Beerus, Boo, and Cell, and all that. Alright, jokes out of the way. Videl is not only a talented fighter, it's shown that she has natural talent with ki control, being able to fly for the first time she attempted it with Gohan's help. Though Videl's talents largely end up being wasted, there's no denying that with her ki control, she may have even had the potential to stand among humans like Krillin, Tien, probably surpass Yamcha if she just had the training to draw out that potential. She may have been one of the strongest humans, excluding Oob. And those other humans don't really have the natural ki control to the extent that they could easily learn flight like Videl did. It took even Goku quite a bit more effort to learn how to fly. So, specifically in terms of manipulating ki and learning things like flight, she probably has the second best potential in the series, excluding Frieza. Yeah, I'm not going to say second best. Maybe towards the lower end of the top 10. But in Z specifically, in terms of key control, probably at least in the top 5 potential. And that potential is simply just untapped. Picture if Videl had met and trained with Gohan before she did in the Buu Saga like a year earlier and had more time to learn from him. Or if while the others were getting ready and preparing for Buu, she trained with Popo or Roshi, though the latter would certainly be a horrible idea for her sake. Or even Chi-Chi, because Chi-Chi is a strong warrior, and we see that she was training Goten. Until she got to the point that she could handle the Room of Spirit and Time, yes, I'm bringing it up again, shut up, to further her ki control or just overall get stronger and more resilient. This, in combination with her already being a skilled fighter in her own right, gives Videl plenty of hidden potential to draw out. It's just that it was never really capitalized on. Now let's talk about the big one, or should I say, the little one. Like Videl and Pan, Marron initially seems like a throwaway character in terms of potential. You could throw Bullet in there too. But she actually has quite a lot going for her when you really look at it. Despite not being confirmed, Marron is likely an android to some extent, as it's been confirmed that Android 18 was altered on a cellular level to be made into an android. Therefore, going off how biology works, it can be assumed that Marron at least has some android-like traits if she's not just an android altogether. Not to mention, even if she's not, her father is Krillin, the strongest human on Earth all throughout Dragon Ball Z and Super until Oob. She at least has potential from that. But going off the premise that she is at least quote-unquote half android, whatever you would consider that, as I said before, she would have some android-like traits. This could include a more naturally powerful body, tougher, able to exert more strength and all that, and increased energy reserves, possibly being limitless like her mother, and, her uncle, like all androids. Combined with the latent potential of her father, if Marron ever trains or has her potential unlocked, she'd certainly be able to stand alongside her parents as a fighter. Unfortunately, her and Videl are just kind of victims of being introduced at the wrong time, as they were both introduced at what was intended to be the end of Dragon Ball at the time, with GT and Super not really doing much of either of them to see their potential come to fruition. But, who knows, maybe we'll get some, future manga or spin-off that focuses on the next generation that'll have Marron and Bola and Pan all see their powers start to really bulk up in a sense. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. This is going to be a new series once I get some more characters to talk about. If you have any suggestions, leave them in the comments below, and I'll see you next time. Peace.